Hello. This is going to be a large video on different SCPs. Hopefully, we can get it to an hour. It's going to be all uploaded on the channel, and I'll call it our SCP.
SCP-9100 Daydream Part 1.
Oh, yeah. While I am reacting to it, I will be doing work on a load long machine. So, happy watch.
There's a phenomenon known as highway hypnosis, in which a person drives
Of course, you're stuck in a disaster if it happened in the real world. Ah, what? Terrorist attack? So I guess that's the mid-air disaster. They were just essentially they were the most average people in existence, like possible. So it seems like this anomaly isn't uh because let me just say this. This anomaly seems to be like people in the world who are just the NPCs, are the most normal of normal people. Eventually get consumed by their own psyche. They completely have nothing that really special. And like a numbing average day at some office job, we slowly go into a daydream. Except for in the anonymous world, in the SCP world, that can last much longer than a few seconds or maybe even a few minutes. That daydream or just fuzzing out of existence of consciousness can last for hours, if not days, if not years. This is going to be interesting narrative. I think what it's going to be like is that the main guy is going to find out he's under one of those daydreams too. Audio to a little bit of a break time music. Dun dun. This one counting the hour. Boom. Okay, whoop. Let's go back to our video.
Spectral entities.
Oh, especially if they're lonely. You just take 1 second. Well, you want to go to the history? All right. So that I thought it was just regular deep sleep amplified through just a collective force of emotional unbelonging and exhaustion. You know, whenever they say opportunity, just know in the next year or two there will be a massive container breach. There is an exact no. These type of articles make it kind of like the exact reason why. Yeah, I can smell it. I can smell that container breach a mile away. How do you know? You watch too many of these, and you know the personal accomplishments of arrogant sci-fi just right in your arse, idiots. And I got one thing. It's incredible to find out who is infected. Well, not at least easy, and you're letting it have potential access to grow, spread, and expand unchecked. I mean, you can fuck with that as much as you can. Just know that that always expands a problem until you figure out, oh, now you can't even control that problem anymore. That's just a little bit. Like, it happened with the tree of life, it happened in global economics. You should, before even doing it, have a full understanding of how the anomalies taking over, how and maybe eliciting. Ah, what's up? Spit. You let him down. How disgusting the rituals. I gotta say, just want to say this. What I've been doing is trying to take a part of the lawnmower. We don't have a part for it. I don't know the tools I have. I probably do have a part. I'll just screw it, but let's start the video again. Probably not. It's the foundation. Probably. Also, now, and now you have to be a high energy dog. Neutralize your movement. So, what new traumatized? I'm listening to it and it's just like, ah, this part is just uh very script, informational instructions and procedures. Yeah, people pulling it out as shit. And I'm also just tired. If you're wondering also why I haven't been really talking. Because I've been constantly, for a good while now, trying to open this side case. And yeah. Hey! PTSD. Oh. You know, before this part one finishes, I got a huge thing to release on my back. I've been trying to fix a thing. For some reason, it doesn't work. It's not working. I want to try to take casing out and see the line of power to see every little point. It's not working. That I can't take out the thing. It needs a very specific thing. And nothing that is strong enough, nothing that can fit in it. I have so many tools, car tools, tool fixing appliances. And if you can't hear me, I know I'm quiet. I might edit this part, be a little louder, but I'm just so exhausted. I might not even be able to do any other videos other than this. Because I gotta focus. Also, a clerical error. Who knows? Maybe it will be just as boring as everything else. Well, we are going to the name of the thing. I decided to do a one about
we create in-depth, comprehensive courses.
You're on a road trip, the kind that stretches over days on end, and you need to make multiple stops along the way to refuel the car and yourself. The last time you remember stopping to get more gas and a bite to eat was back in Wyoming, and now you're in the heart of
Oh yeah, I decided to one of the videos in these like compilation.
Montana. Thankfully, like an oasis in the desert, you see the town of Clearwater off in the distance. It's a vibrant, welcoming little place, a perfect slice of classic small-town Americana.
A town that depends on just a few couple travelers, old booming industrial plant, and
You took a similar trip last year and vaguely remember stopping at Clearwater that time too, and you're glad to be back. In particular, you remember the Old Prairie Diner, a folksy little place with the most delicious huckleberry pie you ever tasted. Perhaps it's about time for you to give it another try. You fill up your tank and stop at the diner. The food tastes just as good as you remember, but one thing is off. The entire staff seems to have changed. It is the exact same diner you ate at a year ago, no doubt about that. But it looks like everyone from the waitstaff to the cashier to the cooks have all been replaced. You try.
I mean, in a way, you can justify that. It's a minimum wage. It's probably a minimum wage diner. They probably all left or everything.
Try your best not to
in
think about
2008.
it. After all, businesses are allowed to replace their staff. But the longer you sit in the diner, the more uncomfortable the feelings become. You need to ask someone, just to push away the fears that you're not going crazy. When the waiter passes by, you compliment the food and mention you ate here last year too. You ask the unfamiliar waiter if they had worked here back then. They confirm that yes, they've always worked here, and so has everybody else. The diner is a family business. You leave town not too long after that, feeling vaguely unsettled. And as a voice on the radio warns about the incoming rain, you tell yourself that you never want to return to the town of Clearwater, Montana. As you leave, the memory of the town seems to fade from your mind in real time. But little do you know, the people of Clearwater will never be able to leave, ever. It's because something horrifying will happen in Clearwater every single year, and that thing is known to the SCP Foundation as SCP-3300. This annual anomalous event is Clearwater's own local curse, always occurring around mid-June. While many of the mechanics of this event still elude the Foundation's understanding, the outcome is well documented. Every single inhabitant of the town is replaced by a person who didn't previously exist. While some elements may carry over from their original counterparts, every person involved will simply be a whole new person, with no memories of the change or who they once were. The process known as SCP-3300 lasts between 6 and 18 days, and once the process has begun, it's impossible for any outsiders to intervene. It begins with rain, a light, dreary drizzle at first, but each day the rain gets worse. Soon it's a storm, and then a maelstrom. Flooding, hurricanes, tornadoes, all centered around Clearwater, but cutting off neatly just beyond it. What happens in Clearwater remains in Clearwater. And when the process has concluded and the sun shines once more, everybody has been changed. Whenever the Foundation has tried to send personnel or equipment into Clearwater, one of two things has happened. In the more favorable scenarios, those attempting to enter Clearwater
The two events
have simply appeared on the other side of the city limits. In the less positive instances, personnel and equipment have been lost forever within. There is no stopping or even understanding SCP-3300. According to Foundation records, Clearwater has been around at least as long as the Foundation itself.
I need to launch a campaign in 2 weeks. Let's see.
Clearwater.
Okay, Elena. We need a great brief.
Of the
Product,
Foundation.
insight, market, leave.
Go just to. So, I think one of the youngest versions of the Foundation is 1865. It's okay for a small town. That makes sense. But some of the versions of the Foundation's age are thousands of years old, if not infinity.
Nothing out.
Now, what are you talking about?
Itself, perhaps even longer. Clearwater has been able to undergo its yearly nightmare without intrusion due to a unique cognitohazardous effect, which creates a kind of mental block around memories of the town for outsiders. You won't forget Clearwater per se, but you will find it increasingly hard to focus on, like something you can only ever see out of the corner of your eye. There is no saving the people of Clearwater. The horror will play out again and again, and and again. The Foundation has no first-hand knowledge of what happens in Clearwater during those horrifying 18 days, but one account they have hints at a terrifying possibility. During an excursion into Clearwater, the Foundation managed to collect a diary belonging to a woman named Margaret Lane. To the best of our knowledge, Margaret Lane no longer exists, but if the contents of her diary aren't to be believed, then what goes on in Clearwater during SCP-3300 is far worse than we ever imagined. Margaret first started her diary not long before SCP-3300's 1995 iteration began. She was in the middle of a tumultuous time in her life, freshly clean from alcohol and drug addiction, forced to live with her antagonistic mother, and having peculiar and distressing dreams. In the first dream Margaret recorded, she was someone else, a woman living in a small hut perhaps a century ago or more. It was plague time. She was looking down upon her daughter, bedridden, her skin covered in painful-looking red blushes. Her husband was already dead. That's when another man enters, a health man. He tells her that he's found their salvation, and then the dream ended. Margaret woke up to a gray, dreary day. There were clouds on the horizon. The rain was coming. It drizzled for the next few days before getting more intense, one would expect from an SCP.
Oh yeah, the reason why I'm doing this faster thing is because I'm going to do a little bit of experiment. These have less detail than the Explorer series videos, so we might be able to get truly more information and detail on what Clearwater is.
SCP-3300 cycle. Of course, nothing seemed out of place to Margaret. Life carried on. She continued to stay clean, resisting the offers of her old dealer, though her relationship with her mother remained frosty. The rain started to get worse as voices on the radio insisted that conditions would continue to become more severe over the next few days. They tried their best to maintain normality. Margaret invited some friends, Jared, Sam, Mike, and Isabel, to come over and play D&D at her place. That was when all hell broke loose. While the group roleplayed, there was a furious banging at the door, like whoever was knocking was trying to bash the door down. When Margaret's mom opened the door to investigate the commotion, she saw that an entire family was standing there, a father, a mother, and 2 young children. The father immediately began furiously asking why all these strangers were in his house. When Margaret's mother tried to tell him that this wasn't his house, he became increasingly agitated and walked straight into the home. Margaret's friends attempted to subdue him, but he threw them off, displaying his supernatural strength. Margaret's mom ran in with a golf club and struck the mysterious man in the chest. There was a nasty splat, but he didn't seem to react. The golf club was just embedded in his chest, having broken the skin and sunken in, but there was no blood, just dripping water. The father then pulled the golf club out of his chest and began beating Margaret's mother to death with it, all while repeating "my house" again and again, while his wife and children watched with broad, sunny smiles in the rain. Somehow Margaret knew that her mother was beyond saving, and that there was no way of defeating these things in a physical confrontation. All they could do was run out to Jared's van with the rest of the group and hightail it to the police station. But when they arrived at the station, the doors were barred and it appeared empty. As the torrential rain hammered down from above, there was nothing left to do but drive out of town and try to escape whatever madness was going on here. But that was easier said than done. They drove for what seemed like hours on end as the rain and the howling wind persisted. Jared had been injured during the fight with the strange family, and his health deteriorated further as the drive stretched on. They should have left the town of Clearwater a long time ago, but it seemed like they were nowhere. It wasn't long before Jared was lying dead in the back of the van, and now there were only 4 of them left. They kept driving, afraid, grieving, hungry, and tired. And Margaret took the opportunity to sleep. There was no time to rest, but she was so exhausted that she had no choice. Margaret had a continuation of her earlier dream. The different her, the dream her, was laying the plague-ridden body of her daughter in the river. But she wasn't the only one. All the villages of her settlement were placing the bodies of their dead in the river as the water washed around them and through them. The bodies became one with the water, and then they became the water. The water was everything. When Margaret awoke, it was to the horrifying sounds of bubbling and boiling. That's when she saw that Jared's body was dissolving. No, not dissolving. Evaporating. It was bubbling and convulsing like it was made of water until the entire thing burst.
I know the video's not ended, but I think I have a good thing. Why? What's happening? A long time ago, a disease went through a small town. They done a mysterious ritual where you give yourself into water and you can come back through the water. Of course, like water, there's a cycle. There's a body of water, it evaporates, condensates, and then precipitates. The town has a cycle too, as they gave themselves into the water. They first condensate, they first fill up into a lake, then they evaporate. Then they condensate into clouds. and then precipitate. Like the point between evaporation and precipitation is the cycle.
Into a cascade of hot steam. After that, Margaret and the others left the vehicle and refused to get back inside. Nothing was making sense. It was like something out of a nightmare. As they walked, the rain hammered down upon them. They couldn't have been walking for more than a mile when they crashed into something. It was a sign. Welcome to Clearwater. It was like that the town itself had drawn them back. Mike refused to return to the town of his own free will and began walking in the other direction. Moments later, he was walking back towards them in silence, though he'd never intended to. SCP-3300 had distorted his path and brought him back. It was clear that Mike was shaken to the core by the experience, but they had to press on. They would head to the grocery store for food, and then to a sporting goods store where they could hopefully grab some guns to fight the violent, altered people who'd somehow appeared with the rain. But things didn't go to plan, or what little plan there even was. Mike shot himself on the first night at Dirk's Sporting Goods, leaving only Margaret, Sam, and Isabel alive. Perhaps one of the most terrifying details of Mike's death was the fact he didn't even bleed. Instead, the gaping exit wound in the back of his head was just full of water. Water was all that seemed to be left of them. Sam, seemingly driven to the edge by the sight of Mike's death, grabbed a hunting knife to perform an experiment.
If you want to stop Donald Trump from packing the Supreme Court with more extremists, then I'm asking.
She'd cut into her own skin and was horrified to see only water dripping out. They'd all been changed, and they didn't know why. That's when the survivors noticed something else. There were people standing outside in the rain, hundreds of them. Not a single one they could recognize. All new people, waiting. Sam said only one word, outside, before walking out of the hunting goods store and disappearing into the crowd in the rain, never to be seen again. Margaret mused that perhaps in the end, she had the right idea. To be taken, killed, erased, or changed would be inevitable. In the final entry in Margaret's diary, dreams blend with reality as her mind finally gives out from the terror. She realizes in her final moments that there is no way out. There is no escape. There is only water. Water is eternal. The rain is eternal. All will be changed. And given the fact that no trace of Margaret was ever found save for her diary, all her fears turned out to be right. She was taken and replaced by SCP-3300, just as will inevitably happen to all the current citizens of Clearwater the next time SCP-3300 rolls around. It will be as inevitable and as indifferent to those it affects as tomorrow's sunrise. You cannot change the rain, but believe us, in Clearwater, Montana, the rain can change you. One of the primary aims of the SCP Foundation is...
Okay, so currently we'll see what the Explorer series got. I'm gonna double speed for me. No. It hasn't. You haven't lived for longer than a year. Sorry, on your time. Yep. Yeah, basically said that I had kind of somewhat guessed. Though he did have other stuff. The Department of Abnormalities. It's one of these the old Department of Abnormalities. The department that disappeared. What is it? Is it Adam Gardner? Why do you look like Tony Stark? I just got Eli. You look like fucking Tony Stark. I couldn't understand any point. You know, ending this because I got extra need for extra time. So it'll just be a fix up bid. If anyone's watching, they can ask me questions, blah, 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 blah. And yeah. Generally, get.
As Yujin walked away smiling. 30 years after the mages, led by Yu Wuya, declared their arrival, magic became essential to all the industry. From food to medicine, culture to protection to even weather control. And still, there weren't enough mages. Adam's sent her a voice right now, telling the people that they needed their help, saying that with systematic education and their know-how, they will guide their magical talents, asking them to become a mage who shines a light on the world. This was the message of Director Choi Isaac, the man who worked with the authorities in communication. But below that giant billboard stood a small man who joined the Yujin Magic Academy, explaining that they taught various kinds of magic that would help them with the entrance exams. And starting a business. Yujin had worried about this a lot. He couldn't be with his teacher. He wondered how he could keep the promise he had made to him. Even with so many problems left in Yujin Magic, so much magic that was meant to make a better world was still being used to hurt and exploit others. He had tried to fix things case by case when they appeared, but that could never solve the root of the problem. There had to be something he could do. Yujin wondered about it, sitting on a park bench, thinking about what he could do as an Archmage's disciple. He wanted to make a real contribution to the world, something that could have as big an impact as possible. Just then, Yujin noticed something. He saw a teacher hanging with children, telling them all about their surroundings. But then the woman froze up as she saw Yujin. The audience asked her why she wasn't moving as she tried to get them away from Yujin. But looking at them, Yujin had finally found it. The way to increase righteous, smart, and kind mages who will dedicate themselves to the world. Handing out a flyer from his school to a scared woman, he asked her if her child had ever dreamed of becoming a mage. Telling her how learning magic during adolescence helped with creativity, focus, emotional growth, and character. Yujin thought that if he could raise the mages himself, it could work. He tried to explain more about his school.
You are the worst person.
As one would need to think carefully about their child's education. But more importantly, he hadn't handed out a single flyer, as hardly anyone was coming his way. Thinking that people must really be busy these days, walking away so fast that he couldn't even talk to them. He needed a way to get their attention as his eyes suddenly fell on something. Suddenly, a crunching sound filled the place, with people turning around to look at what was making holes. The people saw Yujin grow larger than anything they had ever seen. Yujin thought about how he had to grow even bigger as his body started expanding. The bigger he was, the more flyers he began. Having taken inspiration from a Flynn 2 man as tentacles started growing out. For the final touch, he just needed to transform the flyers a little. With that, he started handing out flyers to the people, but everyone ran away from the gigantic monster that was before them. He stopped the people by putting the flyers before them with his tentacles, asking people to join his school with his mouth appearing on the flyer itself. Yujin was excited by this, wondering why he hadn't thought about it sooner. Attention-grabbing entertainment was basic marketing that they could just ask someone. Walking up to a girl as they noticed that she was finished working, she asked her friend if he had forgotten who they worked for. Explanation asked if it would be safer to simply wait for Yujin. Aang firmly rejected the idea, stating that while she was Yujin's student, she refused to be a burden who required smooth feeding. If she didn't act now, she would never truly improve. Returning to the present, Majin realized that the girl before him was far more prepared than he had anticipated. He cast aside his heart sling and freed his twisted limb as he acknowledged the gravity of their targets. Zhang Aang, daughter of the Grand Mage. Aang, however, she declared that this battle had nothing to do with her father's shadow. She looked him in the eye and told him that his gang had made a fatal mistake by overstepping their bounds. With a voice full of newfound authority, she announced that she was not just a victim or a daughter. But the most concerning thing was that she could not tell which way was forward. The pressure was now starting to get to her as her head would return. Yujin had told her not to fall asleep, but her body did not take on conditions, asking them to keep this a secret for them. Such an extreme situation. For now, he would always be by her side, watching over her, so he could study and practice in situations they control. Aang agreed, asking him if he could explain more about the rootless magic, wondering how he practiced with it and how it made him a grand mage. Yujin explained that rootless magic was a technique that connected one's consciousness to all perceived and contacted matter and phenomena, transforming and reconstructing them. Once mastered, she could not only freely alter just her own body, but the properties, form, and mass of any touched object. Aang said that if she had not seen it herself, she would think it was some cult thing that one could not guess the principles of, wondering how all this was possible without mana. Yujin explained that even though he had mentioned perception and contact, just normal senses would cut it. There were prerequisites that needed to be fulfilled first. The first prerequisite was to feel perception beyond perception, which was the scientific understanding of the structure and properties of all things in the world. Putting a mountain of books in front of her, he said that this was all she needed to read to get the scientific understanding of all things in the universe, saying that they should first start memorizing every single piece of knowledge in the books perfectly. Shocking Abe. He told her that it was just simple memorization, so it shouldn't be that difficult. But Abe was stunned, seeing books about molecular material structures, kinetics, thermodynamics, and human anatomy and physiology as well. These were books that scientists and researchers study, and even specialists did not memorize this. Some of those were in different languages. She had memorized manuscripts by attribute and certain recipes and stuff like that before, but this was way outside her field. Eugene then said that 2 weeks should be plenty for her to complete all this. Shocking. Abe actually had to get this done in 14 days. Seeing her excited, he said that he understood that she wanted to rush into real combat practice, but he did not rush the first step. He said that he was around 6 when he first started reading all this, bringing back his memories of studying while reading his books. Abe was now angry, realizing how serious Eugene was, thinking that memorizing all this was no big deal. This was the difference between her and her father's proud society. A monster not just defined.
The hybrid genius.
All over again, she break down. Eugene said that it took him 3 weeks for maybe a month to invent all this, but since Heidi was the Archmage's daughter, he figured 2 weeks would be more than enough. Abe went with a compliment, saying that she was the blood of humanity's greatest intellect, the Archmage, Jung Yu Hyuk. Her plain memorization felt too long for her. She could not know what she was saying, but Eugene liked her enthusiasm, telling her not to rush it. If she would follow his terrible plan to break them step by step, it would take about 27 years and 7 months to complete the page. Shocking Abe. Here are the number of years. She thought her expectation was too high. He didn't say that. But no page after grand page level 100%. Even her father had said it took him 4 years. It had been such a big goal for her that she had never thought about time. In comparison, 27 years was insanely short as becoming grand page wasn't some virgin goal for her anyway. She then asked Eugene how long it would take her to regain her original level of magic skill. Hearing her, he asked as she said that she was up here towards her own age. It was on the verge of her own existence. Eugene did not understand what she was saying, but decided that she should not mention it and just wait on her. He said that only do that after she memorized all the books. But he didn't have all the time. He said that she wanted to do it easy, not be able to use the magic she's good at. But he told him not to worry too much about it. Eugene said that well, after his magic, well, he said that he didn't need to so he explained that about 14 years ago, he had to go to another dimension. His initial path was accident at that time, so he was very worried. But he told him not to worry too much about it. Eugene said that well, after his magic, well, training uses sense, that he was easy to have magic without any so they're going to get a partner that acted as Superman. He explained that about 14 years ago, he had to go to another dimension. His condition was bad with accident. So he was ready for dimensional risk on breaking that when he reached the world. And drawing inspiration from the properties of a state of creatures, with their help, he invented rootless magic and saved his life. Abe was surprised to hear about 8 creatures from another dimension, as he was older than fairies, and these classification ones. He explained that he was hoping to engage in that fairy. Abe said that she remembered not to let go of the rope and not to fall asleep, but to look ahead and keep going. With that, they were. Eugene activated his magic as the stitches on his neck opened up, releasing tendrils as he began changing the shape of his jacket.